This is going to be my opinion on the 4 NASCAR rich kid drivers. These are drivers whose family has money, who have supported their racing career. I'm going to go from best to worst. The best of the lot is Paul Menard. Yeah, he won the Brickyard on fuel mileage, but he's been in top-notch equipment pretty much his whole career. He's been in a car for Childress, been in a Roush car, but he really hasn't shown any ability to close out races, consistently run up front. And I know one thing you're going to say, well, you're not telling me, well, you didn't have a career in NASCAR. Well, my daddy didn't have that kind of money to get me in. Maybe I could have. And then for the two, I'm going to call it a tie for second. The first one I want to bring up is Brian Scott. I just found out today his family owns a lodge business, and they are going to support him next year at Richard Childress Racing. Now, Richard Childress is a loser on this as far as driving ability, losing Elliott Sadler and getting Brian Scott. Elliott Sadler contended for the championship both years with Childress, but they elected to part ways, and I kind of understand Elliott's way because it looks like Harvick's departing on the Cup side after next year, but Childress is gearing that whole operation to them 2 grandsons. That's all there is to it. The tied for second worst rich kid driver is Tim George Jr., whose family owns the Applebee's restaurant. He has been in team trucks to the truck that won the championship in 2011, and contended for the championship big time in 2012 before some late season problems with a rookie driver. Tim George Jr. has shown nothing in Childress trucks. I just don't get it. Childress seems to be all about the money. I was a Big E fan when he drove for Childress, and I'm telling you right now, Dale Earnhardt would have never put up with Childress having this driver's education. Skinner was bad enough when he drove Cup, but Skinner had won some truck races at least. Now I'm going to bring up the absolute worst driver I've ever seen in any of NASCAR's top series. John Wes Townley. If you run a Wikipedia search on John Wes Townley, the nickname comes up John Rex Weekly. It fits. He spent some time in a Childress Nationwide car and didn't last too many races before Childress fired him. But his family is in on the founding of the Zaxby's restaurant chain, so he can get rides. Let me tell you something about John Wes Townley. Yeah, I know at Kentucky, and I was actually at this race back in September. He had a top 10 finish. In fact, the next morning here in town, here locally, when I went to breakfast, I said, was Kenny Wallace driving the 09? It run too good. Because, it showed up on the scoreboard and so forth. They said no, and we had joked about Townley before. It's a group of us that go to breakfast that all watch the races, and they said no, Townley was in it, wow, I couldn't believe it. But if John Wes Townley didn't have a family with money, he would be struggling at the lowest division at your local Saturday night asphalt or dirt short track. He just probably never win a race. Even if he had the best equipment out there, he would be struggling. His family has bought him the rides, and why they continue to waste money, I don't know. I mean, if the boy wants to work in racing, fine, maybe he can be a spotter. Maybe he can get in on the crew chief side or car chief side. Maybe he knows enough about that, but he's not a driver, and that's just the way it is. Now, again, the disclaimer, this is strictly my opinion on 4 rich kid drivers. I will say I always wondered how Brian Scott stayed with Brian Scott stayed with Gibbs for a few years. And now I know there must have been some money coming in from the family, because one race, there were first 3 cautions, he caused all 3. Again, my opinion, for what it's worth. Comment if you want me to do a vlog on why starting parks, I don't like them, but I understand them.